Welcome. In front of me is a TCL 408, and today I'll show you how you can bypass the Google verification on this phone. Now, before I get started, I'm just going to quickly mention that you can see the phone I have right over here is locked. It's telling me to draw the verification pattern to unlock it, and obviously I can also use the Google account as alternative method of unlocking it, which you will see in a second. There we go. So it is obviously locked. Now for this bypass, we will need a computer. That's why I'm recording it on a computer. We will need a cable so we can plug in our phone to the computer. So I have a cable prepared for this. And obviously we'll need internet connection, which if you're watching this video, you have that. So now in the description of the video, hopefully, there is a link to our website. And it will look like this, hopefully. Now, disregard the fact that this is for the TCL 40SE. The process is exactly the same between these two devices. I do have the 40SE as well. So, in both cases, it works exactly the same. It's the same phone, same software, so hence the process is exactly the same. But for this one, just go to the description. If there is a link, click on it and then download the two different things. Now, if there is no link for some odd reason, which honestly could be possible, then just navigate to our website, which is HardReset.Info. So I'm just gonna open it up and kind of go through this process. So actually, there we go, it comes up, HardReset.Info. And then in the searching, the search field right here, you wanna type in your phone model. So TCL 408. I guess I'm gonna go with this one. And here, right at the top, you will see bypass Google verification. So click on this. If you don't see this for some reason, which I think sometimes might happen, you can click on any other one or just scroll down and there should be, let's see. If you select any of them, you'll have this on the side. And obviously we're looking for the bypass Google verification, so it will be in the factory reset protection drop down. And as you can see, it's exactly the same. We need the same tools. Actually gonna close this. So there we go. Now, before I get into downloading this software, the programs that we will need and going into the process, I'm gonna go into preparation of your computer for this. We do need to just kind of prepare it a little bit. So one and the most important thing is you will need to disable your antivirus. Now disable it or just stop it for a brief moment, whatever you feel comfortable with. This is kind of required because when we download the one of these tools, I don't remember which one it is, could be this one, the MediaTek FRP bypass tool, Windows will automatically flag it as a virus and remove it. Now, Windows does flag a lot of things as virus, even though they're not. So that's why we need to disable the antivirus. It's going to delete the exe, obviously the one that we need to run to bypass the device. I will be running it straight from here, so I'll be downloading these specific links and you'll see that I'm going to be using them and they will work, hopefully. I've done this before and I know they work, but there is some gimmick to it in terms of Windows and the drivers. So Windows does install their own drivers, tries to override your own, and that creates a lot of problems. So I'm going to see if I have any problems. I have done this before, so hopefully everything will go smoothly, but there is a chance that it won't. And I'll be also touching upon everything that could go wrong and how to solve it. So yeah, let's start with that. So we're gonna navigate to our start button and we're gonna go into the settings. This is for the antivirus. Just make this a little bit smaller. I'm gonna minimize this for now. So in here, we're gonna go to update and security at the bottom. And then we're gonna select Windows security. And we're gonna scroll, no, we're not scroll down, we're gonna select this, virus and threat protection, right over here. It opens up a new window, that's fine. And here we're gonna go again to virus threat protection, which we already are actually located in. And we want to now select, where is it? There we go, the virus and threat protection settings, and then you can select manage settings. Now I have two two different ways of disabling this. So I have it right here. So real-time protection is off, though this does come up with like this pop-up, a notification pop-up that shows up right here. And if you click on it, it will automatically re-enable your firewall. So the better option, the one that I personally like, is by scrolling down, and you'll find exclusions right here, and you can select add or add or remove exclusions. And I have added the downloads folder to exclusion. So anything that I download through the browser automatically goes to this folder, downloads folder, and Windows has no business mingling around with this folder and changing anything in it. So even if I download a straight up viruses, Windows actually won't be able to do anything about it. Now, I am aware of what I'm downloading. I try to stay away from sketchy things, so that's fine for me. But if you're not like a PC whiz or something, I would probably recommend, if you're gonna go this route, which is a little bit better, to remove the downloads folder from here later on, just for the safety, obviously. So now that that's said, with those settings, we can now download these files without Windows actually removing them. Now, before I start downloading them, I'm going to just make sure that I don't have them in here, which I probably do. So, bidi boom, and there we go. It's now completely gone. Come on. Okay, so I'm gonna open this up in a new tab and this in a new tab. And I'm gonna select download, and we're good to go. So now let's go to our downloads folder, because that's where it downloaded for me. And we're gonna extract both of them. So 1 and 2. Obviously you need WinRAR for this. It looks like I already have this right over here. So let me just get rid of that and extract it. There we go. So now I'm running exactly the same drivers and same software as you will be. So yeah. Now from here we're gonna start off with the MTK drivers auto install, and there's two versions, the 64 or 86. Now if you don't know which one you're supposed to pick, basically the general consensus is you pick 86 if you have, I believe, below or up to 8 gigabytes of RAM, and anything below 8. If you have over 8, so for instance like 16, you go for the X64. I believe it actually could be even up to, well, 4 gigabytes that this goes, and 8 and 16 already falls under this. I don't exactly remember, but if you don't have enough RAM, which you can check by right-clicking on your start and selecting system, it will then display how much RAM you have right over here. So if you have below the required amount and you try to install the X64, Windows will not allow you to. It just won't work. So it will tell you that this isn't like supported for your computer. So obviously you're gonna select the other one, the X86. So I'm gonna install them, although it might give me this pop-up because the drivers are already installed. So for me, it's giving me now the modify, repair, or remove. So I don't want to do any of those because the driver's already installed. I'm not gonna modify, repair, or remove. So I'm just gonna cancel this actually. But obviously, it only pops this window up if the drivers are installed already. So that's number one. Number two is what I recommend doing now, because that will be more of a recommendation, just to have a clear idea how it's if it's working or not. We're gonna right click on our start, we're gonna go to device manager, give it a second, and then simply plug in your device. Now the reason we're doing this is because in here it's either gonna show up as an MTP or something like that device. For some reason, I should have probably moved this. As you can see, it pops me up with these TCL 408. I'm not sure why it's disappearing constantly. Could be the cable. it's not actually connecting to it right now. So that's obviously not what we need. Now, while it's doing whatever it's doing, I'm actually gonna check out if the program can see it, because that could be a problem that I need to solve. So anyway, I'm gonna go back in my downloads folder, go to the MediaTek Universal Tool, and we're gonna simply run it right here, MediaTek Universal Tool. I recommend running it as admin. I'm gonna unplug it. So now when I plug it in, it's not gonna show up. Okay, so it looks like I need to troubleshoot something. I'm gonna try to figure it out. I believe it might be just a problem of a cable. So I'm gonna go find a new cable and then resume the recording. Okay, so using a different cable did solve my problem, and just to demonstrate this, I'm just gonna plug it in. It connects, stays connected, and there's no problem. It doesn't like continuously tries to reconnect. So with that being said, you can also find it under the device manager, and if it's visible under portable devices, as well the name of the device, that's great. That's, I believe, how it's supposed to be. Now if it shows up under like COM port, I believe it is, then you want to select that, because there will be most likely only a single device showing up when you plug it in. If you unplug it and the COM port disappears, obviously that's your phone. So when you see this COM port, whatever shows up under there, right click on it, select properties, then go to drivers, and you want to disable drivers. And then once you disable the drivers, you will then want to go back to the other ones that we downloaded, the MTK drivers right over here, and reinstall them. Now, the reason we would need to do this, just to explain this, so there is some kind of logic to this, is what happens is when you install them, Windows has priority over their own drivers. So if you plug it in, it sometimes will download the drivers itself, even though it already has functional drivers. And they are, well, let's not kid ourselves, shit. So they will just not work for us. They're not what we need. So that's why you want to disable it. And obviously if it appears as COM port instead of the device, that's no bueno. That's not how it's supposed to look like. So just disable it and then reinstall these drivers to basically force it so the drivers that we have are the primary ones. Now, with that being said, we can now move over to the next step. So that is, just minimize this, close this. That's running the program. So that is this one, the MediaTek Universal Tool. And it's this exe right over here. Now, like I mentioned before, run it as admin. Now from here, once you plug it in, you will then select tools, drivers, and again, select the drivers that you want to utilize. So I'm gonna be using the X64. Now, I believe before we do this, we might need to be in test mode on Windows, which is, as you can see right over here, different mode, but I don't see an option to boot us into it from here. So I'm gonna check on our website if that is required. Nope, it looks like that's actually not required. Okay, so from here, like I mentioned, we're gonna install the drivers. Now it might force us to reboot the device. Oh, no, it's just gonna close the program, I believe. So yeah, now we're gonna select the tools, drivers. I'm selecting X64, but if you have like 4 gigs of RAM, select the X86. It's gonna install it. And now, next thing that we need to do is reopen the program. If it closed it, select Erase FRP and select Start. So I'm gonna select Erase FRP. Phone is plugged. And Start. Okay, so we need to turn off the device and hold volume up, volume down, and then insert the USB cable. So let's unplug it. I'm gonna turn it off. Just give it a second. Now when it's off, volume up, volume down, and plug it in. Now you do want to wait for that vibration. There is a vibration on the device once it's fully off. So wait for that. And we're gonna hold both of these volume buttons, plug it in, and it's gonna see it automatically appear on here. So you can let go of these keys, let down the device. Progress completed. And now all we need to do is, I believe, just simply wait for the device to turn back on. I'm gonna press power button just in case. There we go. I don't know why I didn't want to turn on the first time around. I just gave it a little bit of time. Maybe it was still doing something in the background. But as you've seen, once we unplug it, or once I unplugged it and then gave it like a minute, holding it turns on the device. But it's gonna be turning on for a little bit longer than we might be used to, because it is right now going through a reset, basically, if I remember correctly. We'll see. Now, as you can see, it's now telling me to simply sign into the Google account, which I can skip. Oh, skip, there we go. And I can now finish up the setup. Now, while this is still processing, I'm just gonna quickly finish this off. So, showing this bypass hopefully worked for you. I tried to focus on every portion of this that could have gone wrong, because in most circumstances, not everything will go as smoothly as it did for me. So hopefully I did touch upon everything that I know that could go wrong. I might have missed something. Hopefully, if for you it's failing at some other point, you can hopefully troubleshoot the process. The program and everything works fine for this. That's not really the problem. So mainly, if you have any kind of problem that you encounter, it will be to do with Windows and drivers. So if you're struggling with something along those lines, if whatever I showed you didn't work for you, just try to mingle with the drivers and like device managers and installing the ones that I gave you, and hopefully that will solve your problem. But anyway, with that being said, as you can see in a second, we will have our home screen right there, and the bypass worked no problem. The phone is now fully unlocked, and there you go. And there is one more thing that I could recommend doing, just to be like absolutely certain that the device is unlocked, and that's going into the settings and performing a factory reset of the device. So to do so, you just scroll all the way down to System and select Reset, erase all data, and then erase all data twice, and this will perform a factory reset of your device. Now, the reason I would recommend this is because if there is still some kind of leftover from the old protection, performing this kind of reset will remove it. So that's why I recommend doing it. But anyway, that being said, hopefully you found this video helpful, informative. If you did, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and thanks for watching.